everybody, and welcome to Positive Fandom. I'm your host, Artem, and of course, we have with us tonight Lareinacreole. Reina, how are you today?
I am great. I am wonderful. And I am not looking forward to, but looking forward to this final season of The Crown.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know how you feel, Reina. I can't believe it's the final season.
I
What a
right.
and we've been
Uh,
enjoying so much.
I love this. I love this show. It's it's sad seeing it come to an end. First Attack on Titan. Now this.
Absolutely. And we don't normally get series like this, even in our lifetime. This is very special. I think when Netflix decided to do this, or whoever really may have done it, if it's not Netflix's production, it is a very special production. And certainly, this is going to be something that people are going to talk about for years and years and years. It's very
hmm
unique. It's pretty much covered the life and experiences of Queen Elizabeth, who we all grew up with. I knew her as the Queen of England,
hmm
my life the same as you, right, Lorena?
Yeah.
And her life and what she's had to go through and this different perspective. And I'm not even quite sure the background of all the writers, but there are different perspectives. There's a lot of things over the last few seasons that I learned that I didn't realize. And certainly it's been a pleasure to watch a lot of these episodes with you, Lorena, because there's so much in them historically. And you and I remember a lot of these, different things that happened through the years. So it is kind of interesting to kind of look back at the impact that these things had. Certainly, this particular season, from what I understand, is going to focus on Diana quite a bit. And she
hmm
was such an impressive woman, had a huge and profound effect on everybody. And she went from being, of course, the princess to being someone who was the most photographed woman in the world practically. So I think it is very interesting. Lorraine, you're one of the first things you said that you got excited when you saw when they first started talking about the series season 6 was there was one particular shot um, of Diana, and we all remember these incredible photographs of her, and we all remember, all the different things that happened surrounding these different, particular photographs. Photographs were so important during this time, right, Lorena?
Absolutely, absolutely. There wasn't something called social media. There wasn't Facebook or anything like that. The internet in its nascent, stages, but mostly it was print media or what was showing up on, like, say, Inside Edition, hard copy, CNN clips, things like that, or like MTV News or something like that.
Exactly. And of course, as both of you and I agree, you know, the lucky photographer who would get that shot, like it was so important for these paparazzi guys to get a specific shot of Diana. Even after all the photographs that were taken of her, there was this strong push for them, a strong desire to get as many shots of her as possible, especially
Mhm.
when she kind of left the monarchy, in, if you will, left that
Yeah.
life, and then I would even say became even more popular, Lorena. It was quite a phenomenon where she just became someone who represented so many things to so many people. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. And of course, the tragic death that we all couldn't believe when we heard the news about when she was gone. But certainly, Lorena, you commented on how great this actress is in portraying Diana. And certainly, there are some scenes where you almost have to do a double take, right?
Yeah, just the mannerisms that she had. It's just like, oh my gosh, how much in detail did she study, you know, videos and newsreels and pictures of Diana, like how she would speak or nervous, mannerisms, how she would greet, the press and everything. And just like with that hesitation that Diana would always have before she said something, it was almost like, okay, I have to figure out who's going to hear this, and and then she would talk. It is uncanny, and I certainly hope she wins an Emmy for this because it's so well deserved.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lorena. I certainly do hope she wins something, some kind of recognition for this season, especially since there has been so much focus on her. I also want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson, who is here. Hi, Tom. A moderator, collaborator, and good friend, Tom. We are all
Hmm.
says welcome to this watch party that Lorena and I are doing, this live watch party. We have not seen the show, so it's going to be the first time for Lorena and I. We're watching The Crown season 6, episodes 1 through 4, which I think were either released yesterday or today, so we haven't seen it. The remaining
Hmm.
episodes 6 through 10 will be released at a later date, so we're going to just cherish this. This is going to be wonderful, guys. Certainly like and subscribe. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Bonda says my two favorite foxes.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you, Kilborn, for the kind words.
Hmm.
And Chef Nation says, hey, ladies, I'm trying to do the Trump voice. Hey, ladies, are we watching? I can't do this. This is the greatest watch party
Oh,
ever. I should do it. Chef
gonna
Nation.
be huge. Gonna be
Yes.
huge.
Exactly, Lorena. Chef Nation, so good to see you. Yes.
Hmm.
We are watching the new season, guys. And we hope you guys will watch along with us because you're going to see Lorena's and my reactions to what is obviously going to be a spectacular final season of The Crown. I can't believe it's final season.
Absolutely.
We,
Absolutely.
we are going to cherish this like the last glass of champagne, Lorena.
Hmm.
This is going to be, just I think the conclusion to a story that really has dominated, let's say, I would say the last century, that pretty much was the story for so many of us who follow along, who, are familiar with the British royal family.
Hmm.
And of course, both you and I are very familiar with them. And for those of you out there who are watching or who are familiar with them, maybe even fans, I am a fan of them. Certainly do appreciate you being here. Chef Nation says, I will have to catch the replay. Oh, of course you cannot watch it without your mom. Of course. Right now,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right now, my mother wants to watch it, but I said I can't watch it. I said, let me watch it with you, but she wants to watch it right now too. So we can't watch it at the same time. I'm going to be on a camera and it's going to be on, I'm going to be watching another screen. And she's like, I don't understand why. And I'm like, it's okay, mommy, I love you. We're going to watch it. I promise. We're going to watch it together. So even she has an expectation of watching the show. And I think it's a lot of excitement, Lorena. This year, a very unusual year where we saw entertainment kind of get turned upside down, be very topsy-turvy, despite
Hmm.
everything, despite, let's say certain movies doing incredibly well, others not. The Crown has remained an incredible story that people can't stop talking about. Absolutely nobody has said that this is like the worst program out there. In fact, people have
Hmm.
lauded it. And there have been, discussions about, whether this was, if you're looking at it from that point of view, that's what happened or vice versa. But it certainly has promoted discussion in a historical context of a family that has had such a profound effect over so many people over the last 100 years. So I just think it's so wonderful that we're getting to do this. Yay, we're gonna watch it. Yay! I wish I could pass the popcorn to you, Lorena, and just here's some. We
I
can't.
know, right?
I'm passing it in spirit to you. And certainly let's go ahead and get the timer up. I have a different screen. I'm going to put the timer up here. Is it? I
Okay.
can't. I couldn't decide which one I wanted to show. Maybe it's this one. But you could. I was like, I wanted to show it so that you could see both of our faces, and then I picked one
Mhm.
where we're like on our faces.
Uh-oh.
I haven't decided which one, but honestly, I kind of like this one. But the bottom, I don't think I had added the counter, so this is the counter there. and maybe we'll stick with this one for now. But guys,
Okay.
we are watching The Crown, the
Yes.
final season, season 6, guys, episodes 1 through 4, which were released either yesterday or today. It's gonna be fantastic, and I can't wait. Lorena, do you have episode 1, Persona non grata, ready to go, Lorena?
See, you know what? I was so talking that I didn't get up, but let's see, I'm almost there. Almost there. Yes, persona non grata. Yes.
Excellent. And
Well,
guys,
we'd have it up there.
yes, the timer is approximate, so I just want to let you know where we are. We're going to be in episode 1, season 6 right now, and let's go ahead and press play now, Lorena.
All right.
Well, that is an unmistakable landmark.
Mhm. Very much so.
Mhm.
Are they gonna start this where I think they're gonna start this?
Yes, they are. What a way to start this series, Lorena, where you and I both suspect, I think we both know what's going to happen in this episode. And if that's the case, is one of the most jarring things to start. Wow, talking about starting with, just laying
Right out the gate.
Mhm.
Even if you
You were right, Lorena. Literally the first 2 minutes of this show.
I was right in the tunnel. And even if you didn't know, you were just like, "Why are they following this person, and why are they in Paris?"
Absolutely. And once again, this is where print media was king. There's, people are buying newspapers, buying magazines. Those photographs were worth more than gold, right, Lorena? Like,
Yes, it was a bounty on those photographs. You get a photograph of this, and it's with different levels of what you would get, this much for this picture, this much for that picture. Getting photos of Diana was, like, tops up there. So you had people who had these big, long camera lenses, or people driving, chasing people around, trying to get their pictures, following them, trying to get their pictures. It was it was a circus, literally, and for her, the world was so fascinated by her. It's like people couldn't get enough, and she was even more popular after her effective divorce from Charles. Just her everyday life.
yeah, she really was. And it was a fascinating character study in the sense of everybody wondered what she was going to do after the divorce. And of course,
Mhm.
we're kind of, they skipped over a lot of that, but maybe it's going to go into a flashback, right, Lorena?
That's what I think it is, and I have to give them props. Is this tub thumping?
Hmm. Pissing the night
I
away.
get knocked down. Knock it up again. That is such a nice song. Oh my gosh.
Now there are some new actors in some of the roles, Lorena. I don't know who's whom, but it's going to be interesting to see that as well. And as you said, Lorena, I love this lady who plays Diana. She is fantastic. She really has captured the spirit of that lady. Now I have no idea what castle or estate they're at, but yes, oh God, it looks so
It
much.
must be either friends or for family or
Oh my gosh, it looks, oh man. Lorena, she looks so good. I can't even, my heart, I'm getting palpitations from how good this woman looks.
It's like the pictures that, you know, that you would see, like, the spreads in the magazine, Diana out with her children, because this was royal out with their children doing things like Diana did with her kids.
Yeah, she took them to an amusement park. I've never seen that before.
I remember that. They brought her to Disney. Well, first of all, like, security is freaking crazy, and she just went into a performance. I forget exactly which show it was, and people, like, saw who she was, and they were clapping and everything, but she was just like anybody else that was there. She wanted to take her kids to Disney World, so it was crazy. It was on the local news and everything.
Absolutely, Lorena. She really took over, and everybody was fascinated by her, and she did incredible acts of kindness.
Very much so.
And it was impressive. You couldn't, it was almost as if no one could match this because she really tried to use a lot of her fame to get attention to causes that needed assistance. And I think that she did a great job of that. Here in this scene, Lorena, I think is especially interesting. It looks as if someone is asking on Diana's behalf if she can, in some capacity, represent the United Kingdom. And it's kind of, or at least pretty clear that she's pretty much being told that that's not possible. And
No.
that must have been devastating to her after all those years of pretty much being the face of the monarchy. She was
Mhm.
eclipsing almost everybody. For her to be disassociated with that, it was difficult to disassociate her from royal life.
I think if she was well, one, getting divorced in the first place, if she was not that popular, I think they probably would have thrown her a bone, so to speak, but because her personality, she's just so overshadowing the royal family, it's like, no. It's like a slap in the face, to them.
Oh my gosh, I got chills that red this every now and then when I see her like this, Lorena, I'm just get my tingles up my
You
spine.
remember the photos.
Oh God. I love this song by I can't remember his name now, George Michael.
George Michael, yeah. I remember this.
And hello to Bro Goose. Says hello everyone. Hi.
Grogu?
We're in episode 1
Man,
of season 6 for the Crown, Brogu.
I have to give this series props for their music selections. As you notice that change, like, as soon as Diana comes in the picture, you start to hear a lot of this popular music.
Absolutely. And she was so young, Lorena, in her 30s.
Mhm.
Oh man, just a still very young woman as far as I'm concerned. Yes, she had 2 children who were there, but she still was very young, and we did kind of associate her with somebody who was enjoying her life and
Yes.
and in the prime almost of her life at this time.
Mhm. Wow. He was a prat even back then. I had to throw that in there. Oh, what shindig is this?
I don't know.
Now that's Camilla. Wait, no,
Yes.
no, no, not Camilla.
Yeah, that's her.
That's Camilla?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
It was hard for Charles to rally himself after everything. And he still did his appointments and things of that, but it seemed like he struggled a bit. What do you think, Lorena?
I think he did in a way because he wasn't the most popular of that couple. Diana was much more popular, And I guess he thought that, she was always going to be the supporting role, so to speak, and not be as popular with the country as she was, because public sentiment was definitely not the majority on his side, especially when it came to Camilla. So it's like a serious injury to him. It's like your wife leaves you, but she's the most popular. No one wants to show up. Is Diana going to be there? No. Well, shoot, I could do something else.
Mhm. Absolutely, Lorraine, you hit the nail on the head. She drew so much attention, and she had a certain sense of glamour, even, and
Hmm.
this notion uh, of kind of starting over again. A lot of women, who are starting over at this time period, were relating to that as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, this is Dodie.
Yes. Because he was, if I remember correctly, wasn't he engaged to somebody else?
Hmm.
At this point in time, his dad was trying to get them into the royal family.
Yeah, his father did have quite a struggle with even getting British citizenship at the time, especially after
Mhm.
the way he purchased, and of course it was covered in a previous season. He purchased, I think, the Ritz in France, and then he went ahead and purchased Harrods, and a lot of people took
Yes.
offense to that, and they took it out on him
Mhm.
personally. It was a business decision, but they took it out on him personally, and
Mhm.
on his whole family. Like, it's really remarkable that they'd had to go through something like that.
Yeah, because I remember when he bought Harrods, it was a big, like, to do, and of course, the both of us have been to Harrods, and you see the shrine with the engagement ring and everything. Gosh, it was crazy. I'm like, "Wow," but to be able to see that, it's just like it just made it seem even more clear. He was really the push between to get those 2 together.
Absolutely. And of course, here's Diana. I think she had asked for permission if she could bring her children to this may not be the same point, but for her to go on vacation even with her children, everything has to be arranged in a certain way. They are future princes of the United
Mhm.
Kingdom. And so finding a place where they can go to is also a challenge. A safe place. The Fayeds kind of offered that opportunity where she knew, where they would have some privacy and some security. And I can't fault her for that.
Not at all, especially considering, how many people we trying to get pictures of her, probably rent, helicopters, bribing security people saying, "When is she gonna get there? When is she gonna, arrive?" So that's very important. Mm. Hey.
I'll take a cocktail.
Meanwhile, back at Buckingham Palace.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. There's just something about seeing that palace in person. Mm.
So Charles is not enamored with the notion of Diana spending any time with the Fayeds. And he
No.
shares the sentiment of the Fayeds kind of being maybe not acting. I don't think they acted inappropriately, but there's a sentiment that they had.
You got a mouse in there.
Mhm. Aw.
What, Your Highness?
Mhm.
So crazy how it's like it's not like your son is here to visit you. It's like it's the Prince of Wales to see you.
Mhm.
Charles did say it seems she loved the dogs more than she did him.
Yeah, it's certainly not a compliment, to say about your mother, and
No, I was like, "Damn." But I guess that was how, how he felt considering how the royals were raised, and there was less of a, curtain or say buffer between the gentry and royal, and as times grew on, with television and all of that, those lines seemed to blur, so
that's a very good
you
point.
know. To be blunt, I don't wanna be at the birthday party for your I don't wanna be at your host's birthday party, that's pretty much what it is. But of course, the queen would not say that. She would say it exactly how she did here. Mhm. Yeah, and she took that personal.
Oh, wow, she's prioritized the dog over him.
Yeah, he said that
Ow.
in
Right.
interviews with him,
Oh my gosh.
how he felt really neglected, like she was not his mother, and that's a lot of a reason why a lot of resentment that he had towards Diana with how she fought to be involved in her children's lives. And he didn't understand that because he didn't get that. And then when he sees like how his sons will respond to Diana, a lot of it I think was jealousy and resentment on his part that his mother didn't do that. Um, didn't do that for him.
Camilla's very matter of fact too in this portrayal of her, like she has him, out in the open now.
Mhm.
But it's also very kind of frowned upon. No one's happy for them the way that they should be.
Very. Even over here in the press in America, it's just like, this is the chick that busted, their marriage up, and, if it wasn't for her, if Charles wasn't still concerned with this chick, then the 2 of them would still be together.
Exactly.
See?
I would
About the
hate
paparazzi, that would drive me nuts. And remember the pictures they would show the paparazzi in the boats? "One more, Diana, over here.
it's harassment. It's total harassment.
Look over this way." Yeah, with Camilla was getting no love for
Mhm.
quite some time. Oh, look at those beautiful flowers.
Everything in this place is stunning. I mean, I think
Was this
that
in Italy?
probably somewhere in the Mediterranean, right, Lorena?
Okay, I think so, 'cause I'm looking at the water.
France or the Mediterranean. Remember they were right near
Oh, was this, like, near the south of France?
yeah,
Like,
I
near Monaco?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh, this is roll down the windows to smell the money.
He's helping him out. I'm putting her on a plate for you. That's a very
Mhm.
interesting way to tell his son. She looks so lovely, Lorena. Come on.
Yes.
You get a little emotional about it. I think they would have been very happy together.
I think they would. She seemed very happy, out with him in, uh, in public, and she hadn't been happy in quite some like, you could tell she was happy being around her kids, but she was still like, she was still sad.
I think you're right. She did have a little melancholy, way about her, and I think that Dodie, because he also was raised in the UK more or less, understood the
Mhm.
culture and what she was going
Yes.
through, and I think you needed someone who could understand that, but also was able to provide her this kind of security away from things. She was dating that nice doctor, but he couldn't protect her from the paparazzi and all this sort of stuff. But I think Dodie at least stood a chance of doing that, having some privacy, able to provide to her, the level
Mhm.
of what she'd become accustomed to. Because it's not just her, it's her kids, and she can't sort of like go live in a studio apartment somewhere.
No, no, I have, husband who's always, on call and away, needs someone who has the resources, protect her privacy, those of her, her kids, security, all of that. It's just fun stuff, you know, like this.
And it's very sweet. There's absolutely he's calling his fiance, I guess, right?
Oh my gosh, this is the kind of stuff I would see in, like, fashion magazines with, like, the spreads and they're out, like, in the Mediterranean, fashion is hanging on a boat, and
Yeah.
we called it.
Mhm. It is like a real family vacation. That's exactly what this is. He's not sort of like hooking up some rendezvous. She's with her kids, he's with his family. It's legitimately a family vacation.
Yeah, 'cause my dad has the money.
Mhm. Gee, the yacht looks like a palace on the inside.
I know, it's so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I think Robin Leach is gonna walk. Welcome to the life stories of the rich and famous.
Tell her the truth. Don't lead her on. Tell this girl the truth. What? No, you should be telling her no. Right, Lorraine? Like, no, he doesn't.
Now see, I didn't know that he was, like, engaged to somebody else when he
Yeah.
got involved with Camilla. Yeah, I remember these pictures, Camilla out in the wild.
Ooh, look at how cool she looks in her wool blazer.
Yes, in the country with the dogs and the horses, and Charles and I have always loved the same things about the country.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gosh, oh
Oh,
my
look at her. I was like, "Oh god, she looks like a horse." But then again, I was so team Diane. I'm like, "I don't wanna see that chick."
but Camilla didn't really put, in my opinion, her best foot forward either. Because I
No,
feel like she had a defeatist attitude about all of this.
like, it is what it is. Charles is with me. You know, he wanted to turn himself into a tampon. I will never get over that. Take the pictures, take the pictures. Is this the one? Is this where she took the famous picture? She was sunbathing and she was topless.
I don't know whether
Mhm.
she had a topless one. Did she?
I think if it was from the back, like she was laying down.
Oh. Ah.
He's an Irish accent, but he's on a f well, oh, yeah, they are in Saint Tropez. I was looking at the French flag.
It's interesting seeing her in this swimsuit, this actress, because I remember seeing the pictures, but I never really saw her kind of walking around in the swimsuit. And she's almost statuesque, like, you know.
Mhm. And she knows how to treat the press.
And Lorena, this is after she received I think she received no, like a special prize for bringing attention to landmines and all that stuff at this point.
Yes, she did. She did, because they would show the pictures of her out there and, with the UN pictures, like, she had the UN thing on, um, bringing awareness to the fact that these landmines are still out there and children were being maimed, um, by them. Yeah, I remember those pictures because they were I was like, "Landmines, what?" Ordinances from, older wars that were still that was still there, kind of implore governments to do better jobs at sweeping for these mines.
Absolutely. And there wasn't a whole bunch of people doing that. Even now, there's not a whole bunch of people
Mhm.
raising their hand saying, yeah, I want to go walk into an area that's filled with land. 'Cause it's not that common. I think it was very bold.
It was to bring awareness to something like that, to things that governments had forgotten or conveniently forgotten, to do. Wow, that tent is fly. I tell you, I love the set dressing with this. They capture the opulence of just things that the royal family would do.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Isn't it Margaret?
Yes.
Isn't it Margaret giving her the stink eye?
Mhm.
Which is really. Mhm.
Are you kidding me?
Like, Imma walk away from that. Come on, bruh. You were stuck with me. Margaret's like, "This heifer." I love I mean, Helena Bonham Carter did a great job of portraying Margaret, but older Margaret, there's just something, I don't know, there's just something dynasty like that just
I truly agree with you. I think Helena Bonham Carter was a snarky version of Margaret, sort of like the jaded version of Margaret. But this one is don't F with me, bitch.
oh, yeah, I will stab you with a shrimp fork.
Got that 80s disco sound going.
Mhm. Camilla. Hmm.
Oh, well, she's on his side.
Hmm.
And hmm,
Hmm.
that's true.
Mhm.
And of course, he gets the paper, and who's on the cover of the paper the
I'll
next?
give you something. Mhm. Don't mess with me. Check it out. Oh, those don't count. No. Daily Mail kisses up.
You need the Globe and the Sun. What are they saying?
Yes. The true rags.
Yeah, nobody was thinking of Diana in those derogatory terms at all. We were all like,
Mhm.
"Gee, I'd love to spend my holidays on the French Riviera."
Mhm. Like, look at that.
Mhm.
Oh, she's out there. She's looking fabulous, and her
Mhm.
kids are happy. And I just want Diana to be happy.
Mhm. That's all we cared about at that time. Gosh.
Charles, Camilla is not as beautiful as Diana.
Two different looks, two very different generations and attitudes.
Very much so. There you go. A royal splash.
Mhm. I love that. And it looked fun.
Mhm.
Having a splash, ooh.
Oh my gosh, look at those shoes. I'm telling you, I want them. The shoes, all the shoe pictures. Oh, that's just chick shoes. Okay. I don't know, I saw cool looking shoes. It was like, I want those."
It's sad. It's sad that she decided to do this excursion. It's sad. I mean, I think she should have noted his lack of enthusiasm to see her.
Mhm.
I think that people send signals even if they're not deterring you, you know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't know he was involved in filming James Bond film.
I didn't either.
Yeah, he just said that he didn't do GoldenEye, but the next one.
I mess with you.
This is the yacht equivalent of throwing a piece of ice down somebody's shirt.
Mhm. And she's so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's such a beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm.
Out.
I sure hope this was the moment he tells her that the engagement is off. But you can keep the ring.
It's like it's the least I could do. Like, I don't think you understand. My dad had all the money. Well, I guess I'm not gonna tell her tonight. Oh, such a beautiful shot.
Mhm.
I wanna be on the big boat.
I think at this point he's realizing that he actually likes Diana.
Mhm. Hmm. Not really. Ah, okay. When they start dropping all this information you didn't ask for, you know they feeling some kind of way about you. Really? So why are you here? Oh, dang. That's right, because they said Mr. Fayed, not Tony. Mr. Fayed said to take you to the small boat. Yeah, because she did talk about how Charles seemed to kind of just ignore her. Because he didn't really pick her. His mother, the queen basically said, "This is who you're gonna marry," which is pretty much what royalty would do. This is who you marry, that's it.
Definitely arranged and with no care of the fact that he was in love with someone else.
Exactly.
Feels like these two, even the way the actors are portraying this relationship, because, I don't even remember what Dodie sounded like, when he spoke. I knew nothing about him, but we heard Diana a lot.
Mhm.
This chemistry that they have, like they get each other.
Completely.
It's a
Oh
movie
god, no.
theater. It's a movie theater. Like, wow.
Oh my gosh. Before they had, like, outdoor movies, now it's, like, commonplace, but back then, this was not commonplace.
Yeah, this is very rare, very expensive, very exclusive. It's probably
Mhm.
off of a roll of film.
Yes. Not like a projection from a DVD, not a digital copy. Who might this be? Mm, hmm.
Oh, hell yeah. She's totally enjoyed herself at this thing. Are you kidding me? I'm enjoying watching it.
Oh, yeah. Drop the kids off at the gate.
Mhm. See you kids, bye. But mom, you didn't kiss me goodbye. This is the most generous thing I've ever heard anybody say to another person, that they could use their personal yacht when like at your disposal. That is
Mm-hmm.
so incredible. Like people don't say stuff like this to one another.
No,
You
no, that's some
yeah, this is deep. This
fairy tale stuff.
yeah.
Want to use my yacht? Wherever you want to go, you can use my yacht. What?
Even she's like, what? Damn.
Oh, you'll tell me eventually.
Mm. He comes off as being so sweet, doesn't he? He's been a gentleman. He was honest with her, who was there. She's liking him.
Oh yeah.
He's a movie producer. He's got a lot going on.
The kids liked him. From what I understood, they really did enjoy spending time with him.
And the father, oh, look at the father. You see this shot of the father, Lorena. He's kind of grinning. He's going, I think it's happening.
Yeah, my plan is coming together. He's like, my son gets married into the royal family. We are set.
I think the kid is like, Mom, do we have to go to Balmoral? Why don't you come with us? Why don't we go somewhere
I
else?
don't want to go to Balmoral.
What does a princess do in a Paris apartment all alone by herself
Mm-hmm.
with a yacht at her
Who
disposal?
sent all of these flowers?
They are so lovely.
Ooh, tennis bracelet, diamond tennis bracelet. It's got that red Cartier. I called it. I called it. Cartier watch. Oh God, they're beautiful.
And he has some panache. The card inside, slided.
Yes.
I
You
love
know from the red leather, you know what it's gonna be inside. But they probably couldn't get the release from Cartier, which is why Cartier was not.
All right, so I think it goes right into the next episode, right, Lorena?
Yes.
Okay, so we're in this episode 2 now.
Going in episode 2. Man, Cartier, that's one of my favorite places to go window shop.
Agreed. And now we're seeing these guys who have thousands of dollars of camera equipment, are famous photographers, and they make their living taking photographs and unsolicited photographs.
Yes. It's like if we want them, we'll let you know, we'll pay you for them because we have to see the quality of what they are.
And there's Daft Punk.
And that still breaks my heart they broke up.
Oh. I can't remember what this is. Random act frequency, random something frequency, maybe. I don't remember all the names of all their songs, but
Yeah, I don't. It's like I know the tune, but I don't remember which album it was from.
he is taking risks. He's jumping over fences that he's not supposed to be jumping over. He's
Mm-hmm.
lenses, telephoto lenses that zoom in 200 yards. Like, this is not cool.
They'll be hanging out. This is before the advent of like Ring cameras and stuff like that.
He's got his own a photo developing place in there.
Got the negatives.
So is he the official royal photographer or is he?
Yes, he's official royal photographer. I go. And his job is to make the queen look as good as possible. Like a proud subject. I love the queen.
It's nice to hear some positive words.
Mhm.
Yes. I cried when Lorena, that, oh, we do miss her too.
I like the only things from the royal family that I've watched was the wedding of Charles and Diana, her funeral, and the Queen's funeral because the Queen was just so photographed and so spoken of. It's like I just remember her being around for like all my lifetime. Everyone knew who the Queen was.
Absolutely.
So when she passed away, it was just like it's like the grandparents passing when you know it's gonna happen, but the reality of it happening, did she pass away before or after Betty White?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I know she was kind of on that short list. I think you know what? I think she was after. I think she was after because after the Queen passed away on Twitter, they're like, somebody go check up, go check up Betty White.
I went to, I think it's Windsor Castle where she's interned, and I got emotional there too. So, it really had a huge effect on us. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
that funeral was so beautiful.
it was.
And that see-through hearse, that see-through Jaguar hearse. Dang.
Yeah.
2 photographs. Okay. I'm telling you, they are really these titles are something else. Oh, that's Margaret. Get it. Can we hurry up? This was back when things were extremely oh my gosh, is that what that's Windows UK.
We all remember those dial-up days.
Yeah.
You
Nothing
just
on hey,
you just
I'm
got
a big
happy when the page appeared.
yeah, like, whoo, Paige is finally here. I forgot about the queen. Mom was still alive. You gotta go somewhere, Charles.
Now they're getting angry at her.
That is no longer a title. Dang, what y'all got MI6 followed her? Yeah, that's yeah, MI6 was staring. What? No, no, no. Would it be 5? No, that'd be 5. It'd be MI5.
They're terrified that they'll get tight.
Mhm. Mhm. I do not remember this tune from George Michael. Was this on the B-side or something?
I don't know, I've never heard it myself, but I'm just enjoying, this moment that they're getting together is
I
hot.
love this. The little cabana thing. Ah, telling you, I love looking at all those photo shoots, like, in Vogue magazine. Daggone it. Progress report. Like what? Oh, daggone it. I wasn't gonna say that, but
She knows the tea.
mhm. Get the mace. She know what's up. You ain't telling me nothing I wanna hear. What you mean? And he got 2 big old monitors. Oh. Oh, well.
What? And they're not
Is
doing
my son hitting that? What?
one room on bed, no row, no thing? Come on.
That's all I need to know. Let me leak this to the press. I mean, a gangster for there you go. That's who you want.
He's like James Bond of photography.
Did you just give him, like, coordinates?
I think maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I thought that looked like coordinates.
Yeah, maybe
I
it
could be
was.
wrong.
No, you're probably right. I maybe he gave him
Dang.
them the address of their where they're staying.
Ye yeah.
You're
He
right.
got
You're right.
ninja
That's what it
photographer.
was. You were right, Lorena. He gave him the GPS coordinates.
I watch too many spy movies.
No, that's good that you paid attention.
Pay him off, get some information. Like, don't ask questions, just take me where I need to go. Oh my god, that water looks gorgeous.
Mhm.
Like, what do I do with my time? Ew.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, these performances are so good, Lorena.
Because this is what we didn't I mean, this is kind of like something we'd hear about, but, I mean, granted, a lot of it's, like, fictionalized, but obviously the dynamic probably that, like, Friends scene between the 2 of them, played out because we didn't of course, we didn't see that, we just knew that she was happy. So it adds a lot of dimension of humanity because not a lot was known about Dodi Fayed. We knew about his dad because, of course, his dad kept talking after the accident, unfortunately. So we heard a lot from him, but to see this particular relationship, how they talk to each other, how they relate to each other, as opposed to, like, say, when she was with Charles, it was very detached and she felt, ignored and all of that. It's so good seeing this. I love it. It's like a good old fashioned soap opera.
It is good. Ooh.
Mm. Hey.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well,
That's the shot.
mm-hmm.
He took like 50 shots. Damn. Oh my God. Go on, go on. One more.
Keep going.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I got him for you.
He's taking like 75 shots a second.
Mm-hmm. Making sure I get this. Dang, that's a huge lens.
Yeah, it's huge. This is like the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. He needed a tripod for the lens.
Yes.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Let's see how it came out. Of course, we know this famous shot, the shot of them kissing one another.
Mm-hmm.
There was no denying that there was some kind of intimacy between the two.
How much you want to pay for this? Well, Fayed probably already paid him, but you get Fayed, get paid by whoever publishes the shot. I got something for you.
Oh my gosh, if he had gotten a picture of him touching her leg, I don't know if he did, but whew.
I think there were two because they were like sunken in and the guy's sea level, so it's only like when they stood up that they could get that. Dad be pimping. Shameless. Yeah.
Woo.
Repeat that in my good ear, please. Mm, mm, mm. Oh my gosh, the Duran Duran t-shirt and a old school laptop.
I think that's their Ordinary World tour top. I'm not sure, but I remember I think Ordinary World came out around that time. It was a great time for music.
Mhm. Ooh, 'cause it had to be a big deal for her to take her away from her kids. I get it.
What? Oh my gosh, I had no idea he sold it for that much. Oh my gosh, that much?
Let's see. Am I a little behind you?
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna just hold it. I can't get over. Let me know when you get to the point.
200 and a quarter of a million pounds?
Yes! I I can't. I
A house back then.
I can't get over it. And 100,000 to reprint. Of course, they made millions off the photos, but wow. Yeah, it is going to be impossible to avoid this. 250,000 pounds.
Quarter of a million pounds that they
God,
paid for it.
that's huge now. Nobody could sell a photo for that much now. No one could.
Not with all the cell phones out now. Nah. But back in the Stone Age, when, you had to have, like, the proper camera with the lenses and all that, and, you know, couldn't fit, like, in your pocket or your purse or something like that.
Aw. Come on, give your mom a hug.
Give your mom a hug.
You're gonna remember that hug, my dear.
It's crazy to realize he's, like, our age now. Yeah.
Awkward.
Right.
How was your weekend? Great. How was mine? I don't
It
know.
was okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Ralph Lauren polo shirt.
Mhm.
Yes. So now you are.
Yeah, and Tom Junior Jackson makes such a good point about the show transporting you back to those days. Yeah, Tom,
And
absolutely.
and that's the magic, isn't it? It's like it's not enough to just, "Hey, the show was back from that point in time." You have to recreate that point in time, even down to there's no cell phones. How do you communicate and get this information out?
And guys, make sure you follow Lagrange Creole on Twitter
Oh,
and on
thank
her
you.
YouTube channel as well. Tom, I know he's going to post the link up there, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. And Tom, also share your channel as well if you haven't already done so.
Mhm. Oh, shoot.
So, of course, this is the fateful goodbye, right, Lorena?
Mhm.
And guys, we are on episode 2 of season 6 of the Crown live watch party here. I am RM, and of course, we have with us Lorena Creole. Guys, I hope you are enjoying this series. We're on episode 2, 2 photographs, quite indicative of what's to come. That photograph was really changed a lot of things um, for her in particular.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Now, that's not the driver who drove her and Dodie in Paris, is it?
I don't think so. This was back when, Not as much now as then, but it was a big thing about the fighting going on in Bosnia.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that, Lorena. This was very dangerous for her. I mean, I have to give her a lot of credit for doing this. I would not step within 10 miles of
Mm-mm.
this area. I have to give
No,
her credit for this.
no. I think you have to bring that robot and roll it out here.
And they had genocide going on, if I remember correctly. There, these horrible genocides that were happening there. The people.
Mm. Oh. Oh.
She'd always wear these crisp white shirts, right, Lorena?
Yeah. I was like, how does he keep it so clean? Here's the paper. Oh no. Oh shoot. Queen got shit. He does not look happy.
Lorena, you remember these photographs and video of her wearing
I
that
do.
line gear and you just were like, oh my gosh,
Can't believe she does that.
still impressive today. Gosh, she was so amazing. It's just unbelievable. The kiss, that's right. That's what they had said in the newspaper. I'd forgotten.
11 pages. Damn.
It's an expose.
Yes. With some color given by Dodie's dad. That's right, because they were, ooh, that's the big
Um,
paper over there.
£1,000,000. Oh my God.
Because they had to get that markup, right? The supermarket rags.
Mm-hmm.
The National, I don't think the National Enquirer got to it first.
I don't remember.
Wow. Dang. Almost.
I don't feel sorry for her. Maybe a little envious just because she's living her life and enjoying it. That's the
It's like, why? She's not, she's not, it's a private moment. She's out there. Her kids are being taken care of. You're just again mad or upset because Diana gets more press than the royal family. She makes more of a stir nationally being separate from the royal family than being together with it. Excuse you? These people were vicious.
it's very uncomfortable.
Mhm. And some of these questions, I mean, I don't know how many of them how much of this is fictionalized and how much of it is real, but a lot of them did ask her a lot of inappropriate questions.
It's absolutely intolerable.
Mhm. Uh-oh, that look official. Well,
Mhm, and that's the tea.
mhm.
God, that poor girl and the crying that she, during her press conference and the ring, and she's like, but he's mine. Here's my ring.
Mhm.
Oh dear.
Mhm. Mhm. What is that gonna do? No. Mm. Oh, I don't think you understand. She would. Oh, I can think of one. Set up nicely. He's got a picture up there of the queen, I guess, of his photography.
A very different approach to photography.
Yes. I almost said he's getting in the wrong side of the car. Yes. I do remember the picture now. Good. I don't wear kilt. Shoot. I mean, it's cool now, but I just remember it was just this very pastoral picture. The kid's kind of like, "I don't wanna be here," and yeah, like, out with the hounds. It was a very I mean, it's the kind of picture you would expect from the royal family, yeah.
Yes, very generic.
Mhm. No, not like feeling or anything like that. Not like the pictures where Diana would take with her kids, and it was like all this energy. Like, what, really? I tell you, nobody throws shade quite like the British press. The Mirror. Mhm.
Hello, Lance.
Hello.
How
Hello,
Can't do a
Lance.
stream about the Crown without having an English person on it.
how are you tonight?
Absolutely.
I'm good. I don't mean to interrupt. Well, you're on episode 2. You've just had the photographer's montage, right?
Yeah, we're about almost at the end of episode 2.
All
There's
right.
Mhm.
about 3 minutes left. So we're just
I'll-
about to
Yeah.
start episode 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, I cheated. I watched it already, but I need to watch it again because you always have to watch it again straight away.
Well,
To
thank you for
absorb-
joining us.
Yes.
the honour's all mine. I'm sorry I was late, but our acting coach passed away on Sunday, and we all went to a thing for her tonight, so that's why I was late.
I'm
I'm so
sorry
sorry.
to hear that.
Responsible
Now,
for many careers that you've seen, but we'll get into that another time.
now, Lorena, you remember the shot of her hanging off
I
the edge of that boat with that blue swimsuit.
Mhm.
That was
I
another
do
one
not.
where we saw a lot of photographs, and we're just starting episode 3, everybody. We're just
Mhm.
starting episode 3 of The Crown right now. Um,
They
and the
paid a lot of
episode
money
is
for that
called
photo.
Is Moi Oui.
I'm just getting my Netflix up now. I don't know why it's not listed as popular in the popular section because I would have thought everyone's watching it. Are you skipping the titles?
Yes, we're right into the episode now, about 30 seconds or so into that first episode.
You mean
Episode 3.
yeah? Because there's always there's always a bit before the titles. Then you have the titles. That's what I was asking. Okay, I've got it up now. when we get onto episode 4, I was there when all that stuff happened. I was at the front of the crowd, so I can offer some interesting insights on that. Okay, I think I'm synced up with you guys now.
Wonderful. Dodie is speaking to his father.
On
And
the
his father
phone.
tells him that, yes, on the phone, that he'll have all the riches that he could possibly want.
If you put a ring on it. Yeah. I think they handle this storyline really well because, of course, we don't actually know what was said, but you'll see later as well how it's handled very well. With
I
the
agree.
known facts.
And we know that certain conversations must have been said and had, but it is wonderful how they've dramatized it for us so that we can get a greater context of what's going on.
I feel this storyline is as accurate as it can be. Some other aspects of the show maybe not, but this storyline certainly, which is the meat of this season anyway. There's a great line here where the woman says one normalizes the abnormal and becomes accustomed to the madness. That's a great summary of this storyline. I'm on the titles now. Are you guys skipping those?
No, we're not.
I am not.
Okay, that's right. I'll let it run.
It should say the crown right like now is where we're at.
Isma,
Yeah.
we.
Yeah.
Tell me yes.
At least they were bold enough to have the father say this is kind of like the next thing from buying the Ritz, from buying Harrods, and now this. The notion of him seeing it as an accomplishment if it were to go to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, I think he did want his son to fall in love, but it was the perfect sort of almost Hollywood-esque couple as far as he was concerned. Power couple. They would have been the power couple if it had worked out.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. And I am not a fan of stracciatella. I tried it. It looked good. And I tried it. I'm like, I don't think I like this.
And certainly, I think they did a great job of. There's a different feel now between the two of them. You do feel as if this relationship has progressed to somewhat more serious, right, Lorena?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like a fling. Oh my gosh, beautiful shot.
Yeah,
I think they also feel there's a lot more at stake. What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, I mean, Diana's dichotomy in this is played really well, and I think they've handled her uncertainty about the relationship. She clearly cares for Dodie, but I think it's pitched just right. They don't give us all the answers. They leave a number of scenarios plausible, and I think that's very clever. It's really well handled, their relationship. I think the actor, by the way, who plays both of them, Diana and Dodie, I think are first class actors.
They're brilliant, and certainly what we're seeing, these scenes on the street, which, you know, the three of us certainly have had, you know, you go somewhere and you're enjoying yourself. It's incredibly difficult for them to do this because of their popularity, and pretty much the eyes of the entire world focused on them right now. I have to give them credit for even going out doing things like this.
Yeah.
Incredibly challenging.
And they did really do this. They did catch the boat into town, and I had the same problem with Reina in Florida when we went for a meal. People coming up to her, "Oh, we know you from YouTube." huge scrum of fans. It was, you know, terrible. I had to step back and just let them talk. It was.
And this is a point where they're talking about that poor girl who, Reina, you and I had a discussion about this, where she sues him. And it's the saddest thing you've ever seen this woman come on with this ring that's so big. It's like almost she can't barely lift her hand.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And she's suing him for breach of promise, I guess is what it would be called. I don't even know what it's called today, but it is a big scandal, I think, especially since she was ready for this wedding and everything. So
I didn't feel we needed any scenes with her. I think we needed to hear about that story, but I didn't feel we needed the scenes with her. That's my personal view.
Well, I think the reason why they did include it was to show that the father approved of some women who could get on the yacht and others could not.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because he's got a line, hasn't he? Is that the gold digger again or something? I think he has a line.
The worst.
Yeah. And I do know people who met Dodie, because of course he was a film producer, and those people that did meet him said he was very nice.
Everybody was just so, you know, if you saw Diana, everyone just wanted to just.
And I'm not sure if this was the one, Lorena, but I know there was one instance where this happened to them and somebody had a boat. They said, I can quickly get you out of the area. This may not be the one, but I remember that someone saying, we can get them out. My friend has a boat, you know, in the harbor. I can get you out quickly, you know, as a favor, you know.
Yeah, this would be it.
Okay.
Yeah, they got. This is the thing as well, is there was a part of her that just kind of wanted to have that normal life and just be able to go out and do things, but it was impossible. Can't have both. Can never have it both ways, you know.
He's asking her about jewelry. I mean, it's a beautiful store, but I don't even think I could think about jewelry at that point where you're running for your life. Essentially, that's what it turns into, right?
Yeah, I think she's trying to like distract her.
This was part of the story that fueled the media, that they were looking for rings, when in fact on this occasion they just ran into the jewelry store to escape people. I think because Dodie knew the owner, and he was able to get them to shut the store, and then they were able to escape out the back. You girls are going to love this rock, by the way. I know you're desire for all things shiny and sparkly. And this is right
Oh,
up
yes.
there. This is right up there.
Turn around. Give us a smile. I won't get paid if I get a pictures from your back.
That would drive me nuts. It would
Just,
drive me crazy.
yeah.
When you hit 1 million subs, ladies, that's what you've got to look forward to. Because honestly, that's what it was like at the London meet with Drinker when I was trying to
Oh my
organise this
gosh.
queue for signings and things, and it got pretty crazy.
I need some bodyguards. I'll have to get some bodyguards.
Well, he grabbed me and said, "Can you manage this queue because it's getting out of control?" And I was like, "Okay." But you know, he's a good guy, so I was quite happy to do that for him. Imagine going and getting this gig and filming on all these locations and filming on this yacht, and you're getting paid. I mean, what a great job.
Wow.
And thank you, Tom. Guys, if you do enjoy seeing us watch these episodes of The Crown, and of course we have more coming up, please do like and subscribe. Feel free to send a tip. We do appreciate everything and want to hear your opinions about this incredible series.
By the way, I'm only off camera because I'm eating some Kentucky Fried Chicken. So,
you enjoy your food.
Do forgive me.
Okay.
He's so excited for him. And, you know, regardless of, let's say, the intention or the motivation, I like seeing this happiness that he has. They clearly like one another. Who would to know what would happen in the future? But at least someone seems to have some caring for her, or from what I can see, that's genuine, honestly. Even if this does happen where parents want you to be with someone. And this is the truth. I think it's interesting to see it from this point of view. But this really does happen where your parents call you up and try to hook you up with people. Yep.
And I did see this spring in person at Harrods down the basement, a shrine down there. I had to take pictures and show my mom. I said, "Yeah, it does exist."
You still got it in your purse, haven't you?
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the father lays on way too much pressure on him. And my friends that worked with Dodie said he was a very shy, quite private person. The total opposite of his father in the room. You know.
That's the impression I got, like, watching the series. He's not, you know, his father's extremely driven. Dodie just kind of wants to be his own, you know, his own person. He's very soft-spoken.
Yeah, he really didn't want to be beholden to his father's money. That's well known.
And I do like this depiction of him. I think they did a beautiful job of showing, you know, this man. And he, for the most part, he comes across as being a gentleman. I mean, it's true that, you know, he's working through the ladies, if you will. But a man with this much wealth and certainly accomplishments would be noticed by the ladies, I think. And guys, please also subscribe to Lance's channel, The Outcast Creative, right here on YouTube. If you want to see industry interviews, you want to find out what Lance is up to, certainly check out The Outcast Creative, another fantastic channel. Don't miss out on it.
Did you give him a horse?
3 interviews this week alone. Aren't the kids good in this as well? The actors playing the 2 boys, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are good.
And Jonathan Pryce, who plays Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, he lives
He's
just.
perfect.
I've met him about 5 times. He lives just up the road from me, but in the rich part with the big houses. I'm in the small part with the smaller houses. But he's a really lovely man and a very good stage actor as well.
Over here.
They'll do the hey.
Over here. Over here. I think I learned from Diana pretty much. You put your sunglasses on, you don't have to make eye contact.
That's why you wore your sunglasses when I met you. Okay.
Yes. Now my secret's out, right?
If
But
people are
Diana's
wondering,
were much more expensive than mine.
possibly. If people are wondering what they've seen the actor who plays Dodie, and you probably saw him in Flight 93, which was one of the first films about the September the 11th.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He played one of the main terrorists in that.
Okay. When the scooters were like buzzing by their car and
I think you're slightly ahead of me. Are you in the car where they've just got to Paris? Was that right?
Yes, we'll stop at the Ritz on the way to my place. You can call it in private there.
At this
And now you can see
place.
the house.
Yeah, the house with the big gates, right?
Oh, that house is gorgeous. That's
Mhm.
not a house, that's a chateau.
And I like the way that he has a British butler. You know, like that's a bit of a thing. If you're rich and you have a butler, you have to have a British butler because we're the people that sort of started the butler thing.
Yeah,
So-
that's why in French Prince of Bel-Air they had a Jeffrey, the British butler.
Some people have a trophy wife, some people have trophy butlers or trophy husbands. Let's keep it even.
Does he know? I want to talk to you, Dave.
I wonder what he's going to say.
Yeah, she so doesn't want to talk to him.
Wow, he's manipulative as hell.
That's a little pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I was saying. He's really like laying it on thick, you know. I missed the painting of the father as a pharaoh on the wall. I missed that when I watched it the first time. There's a painting with him with the pharaoh headset, sort of headdress.
And hello to Darth Plato, who's joined us. Darth Plato, hope you are well. It's such a pleasure to see you tonight. And there is this odd amount of pressure from the father and from the outside world kind of pressing in on both of them, and it is uncomfortable. And I think it does set a very interesting tone in this series to give it a even greater context for people who were not alive during this time and didn't know Diana. They didn't know what was going on. I think it really captures a lot of this awkwardness, if you will, of being chased by these cameramen, of feeling it from all sides. This is a good idea, this is a bad idea, everybody kind of imposing on them. The beat of this is absolutely captivating.
So just to mention, even though the British press are terrible, these guys on these scooters never would have got away with this behavior in London. The police would have arrested them like immediately because it would have been classed as dangerous driving. So they would have been arrested straight up.
And there is, of course, and we saw in the series, Lance, which I'm sure you saw as well, the impression that we got in the phone call that we got of, you know, the father soliciting someone from the press to take these photos. And it almost implies that that solicitation could have been part of this, you know, charade going on around them as well. So I think that, you know, in the context that we're looking at, this program sets that up also as a for something in contemplation, as to how their coming and goings are so well known.
I mean, I think you have to remember that this is produced by Peter Morgan's team, who made The Queen, and he's a man who has a lot of access to the royal family directly. So you have to sort of, I think the Fayyads probably come off in this a bit more villainous than they were. I don't doubt that the father commissioned someone to get that photo of them kissing. I'm sure he wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, once he got that picture, I don't think he needed more photos. That was enough. So I think the people on the bikes are just there, you know, like vultures. If they could get a good picture, they would get £10,000 for it. That's all set up at the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With your two different types of photographers.
And now she's just, you know, very disappointed because she hasn't been able to speak to her sons, which is probably something she does every day.
Yeah. That was her thing. She was always wanted to be involved with her kids.
Absolutely. Top priority. And for all their faults, I think they've both turned out amazingly well, I have to say, for the most part.
Yeah, I have my preference.
I bet you do, Lorena.
I do indeed.
But it's not the bald one. Anyway.
It's not that. It's not the red-headed one, that's for sure.
Yeah, must be the third brother that we don't know about. When it cuts to Scotland, if those valleys and hills look familiar, that is some of the same locations from the film Braveheart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is especially hard knowing that this may be some of her last moments right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to say I found watching this and the next episode, bearing in mind I lived through this, really difficult, actually. Really difficult. It's a very different perspective than the movie The Queen.
It
Mm-hmm.
certainly is a different perspective. And of course, the Queen, there is a scene that coincides with this where they are out stalking and, you know, they get this terrible news of what's happened. So I think it is very interesting that they chose to go ahead and give us a similar scenario, but from
Mm-hmm.
quite a different point of view.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true that William went out and hunted on the night of the accident. He may well have done. I honestly don't know if that's true. I'm sure he did do it because it's kind of a bit of a royal ritual that you do it eventually when you come of age.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely would have done it at some point. So I think it's a fine dramatic license to coincide it. I think what's known as the RM Lorena nightmare scene is coming up fairly soon. You'll know it when you see it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's a bit further on yet. When you know the narrative of this day, which I wasn't fully versed with all the different places they went to and things like that, it's so weird the number of little things that happened that led to them making the decisions that led to the accident. And if just one of those little things had been different, you know, it's yeah, that's tough.
Oh my gosh. That couldn't be me. I'd have my security throwing people all over the place.
Yeah, I felt the 2 security guards in Florida were inadequate. Your number of fans, they were too laid back.
Scotland looks so beautiful, but man, I just start shivering every time I look at pictures of
I mean, if
Scotland.
you go in the summer, have you been, Lorena? Have you been there?
No, the furthest north I've been in the UK is Manchester.
Oh, okay. The rainy city.
Yes, it looks like New Jersey.
Yeah. I mean, Scotland is beautiful in the summer, and you know, if you've got a car and someone who knows the sights, it's amazing. Plus, you can go and get drunk with Drinker, so that's always a bonus.
Oh, that's okay. I don't do the British pub drinking. I will take the fish and chips though. That is my barometer for how good a pub is.
Well, you need to go to Suffolk for the best fish and chips in England. That's on the east coast.
Oh, okay.
Next time you come to the UK, we will do that. As you took me to a very nice eating establishment, fish and chips in Suffolk will be yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I do need to plan a family research trip one day.
This phone call scene is oh man, it's heartbreaking.
Man, that ring. I'm like,
There
dang.
were a lot of copies of that ring.
Yes, there were. I was like, they make diamonds at big. I mean, Elizabeth Taylor's diamond. We knew all about that, but this
When you
was
say
like the
copies,
first
do you
one
mean
I'd
do you
seen.
mean like rip off copies, or do you mean replicas?
Like replicas. There were replicas that you could buy legit in jewelry stores in the US. You had like a couple of knockoffs, like your Walmart knockoffs, but that was like the thing to get a
Mhm.
replica of the engagement ring that Dodie supposedly was going to give to Diana. That was huge.
It had a huge effect on jewelry design.
Yes, it did.
How much did it cost you, Lorena, when you purchased it?
Oh, I didn't pay for
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I keep forgetting it's in your purse. I remember. I bet that was a hefty price. That.
And this is obviously the last, maybe
Yeah.
the last phone calls that the children has had with their mother, and it's
Mhm.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, they're talking about what's going on
Mhm.
in the newspaper, and of course, I'm sure there was a lot of "I love yous" and "How are you?" and "We really miss
Mhm.
you." But it is heartbreaking to know that, you know, these last moments, and I think this is such a beautiful way to show it. It does feel very outside of what's going on right now,
Mhm.
you know, in their lives. This, you know, it's just heartbreaking in a sense.
You wanna listen
Yeah.
to this conversation that they have, because this is really important. What the boys ask her and what her response is.
Oh, goodness. Ready as I'm gonna be. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Darn scooters.
We should mention the actor that plays Trevor, the security guard, who's sitting in the front of the car. He's a really good likeness for the real guy, if you know what he looks like.
Ooh.
Very close. I did think they might show a bit more of his story, but they didn't really.
They get tipped off to where they were. I guess they did where they were going.
They already had rooms booked there, and they'd already been there earlier, so
Okay.
they've just gone back there again. You see?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. And hey, you know, how do you think concierges earn their money? Get a tip for telling people who's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I learned that from TMZ. TMZ and living in LA, find out kind of stuff. Keep playing. That is just really freaking eerie. Oh, that restaurant is beautiful.
Yeah, but you don't really want a table in the middle, though, do you? When
No,
you're this couple,
no,
can we be seated in a corner, please? But
no. This is when you ask for private dining room. Someplace like the Ritz has got to have that.
I think it was already booked that night, because don't forget they hadn't originally booked to go there. He was going to take her to a small, little cute traditional French restaurant, but the press just made it impossible
for them to go. So they said, "Oh, we'll just go back here." So you're kind of stuck, huh?
And they're in the newspapers right now, like every single, front of every newspaper has on it. And there's a lot of talk and speculation, especially after the ring incident. So, they just couldn't get away from anybody at this point. It was impossible, I imagine.
Yeah, there was we have a paper called the Evening Standard over here, which comes out sort of around 5 o'clock. And on this day, on the front of that paper, there were pictures of them already photographed from this day. So that's how fast. And don't forget, this is pre sort of digital that we've got now.
Right.
The photographers will get the prints to sell them that fast to London. People will pick them up. Boom! It's on the front page in the evening.
And you do get a sense that it's an uncomfortable frenzy for them going through this right now.
Yeah.
Okay, your nightmare / possibly dream scene is coming up.
Not Enrique. Julio Iglesias.
I guess which depends on the guy in the room, really, doesn't it?
That's true.
I have a question I want to ask you, to which I hope you will agree.
I think this scene is played really well.
Because she hadn't been divorced that long,
It's like a year
if
and
I
a half.
remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, but they'd not been together for about 6 years, but true. And of course, he's not really been out of his engagement very long either, weeks.
Mm-hmm. Your daddy.
I feel you two would have given the same answer as Diana to the food being sent away or not being sent away in this scene, because it does look good.
It depends. What is it?
Well,
Because if it's snails, you can take it back.
oh, no, I've had those, and I do not recommend.
No. No. That is a sick ass.
I think the two actors underplay this scene perfectly, purely from a technical, less experienced actors would have blown this up into like a big argument scene. I think it plays out a lot better and more realistic to their characters.
I agree. I mean, it's pretty clear that from what we could see in real life, it seemed like they got each other, and you can see that in these performances. They're friends. They're really good friends, and that comes through, and that's good to watch too. It is entertaining to watch friends have moments like this because we know they happen.
Yeah, I'll comment on what I think was actually said when we get to the end of
Mhm.
of all four. It's not far off, but it's slightly different.
Mhm.
Let me know when you get to the dad ringing.
Mic drop.
Yeah. That's pretty much all you're gonna know from now on.
Yeah. The scene is very clever with the phone call. Very clever. The writing. I'll elaborate on that later.
Mhm.
The friend zone.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. The bodyguard survived, right? Trevor?
The driver, I think.
Not
No,
not
no,
not the
no, no, no.
driver,
No,
the
the driver died. The bodyguard survived.
that's what I mean, the bodyguard. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did survive, and I felt very sorry for him because
It was heartbreaking.
I felt like it must have been incredibly difficult for him, and I don't feel like he got any real sympathy or recognition for how difficult his job was, and he also tried to get them to make different choices that night. If they listened to him, they would have been alive.
In the end, they're, he was employed by them.
Yeah, I think he was. I think. I can't remember if he was employed by Diana or Dodie. I forget. That I'm not too sure about. I'll need to check that.
I know with some people who do that for like a living, it's like sometimes, in the end, it's all down to who's paying you to do what. And you can advise them all you want, but if they want to go against that, it's like you need to have that contingency plan for, when they advise against it. And this is when they tried to say, forget what his blood alcohol level was, but they tried to say that he was too intoxicated to drive or something like that.
I don't think that was true. I think he had a drink, but I don't think he wasn't drunk.
No, they were trying to play it off as like,
Yeah.
oh, well, he was intoxicated. I'm like, no, that doesn't seem quite.
Do you
quite
guys
right.
you guys know about the court case that was brought about the result of the car crash by Dodie by the fired father? And I'll tell you about it later. But
I'd heard about it.
we can. Well, the lawyer who represented Fayed is a friend of mine, so I can tell you all about that after.
Oh, okay. We heard about it kind of in the States, but not.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a big
There
headline.
was a lot of stuff that came out as a result of that wasn't public knowledge, which was very interesting. Yeah. The bodyguard was an employer of Mohammed Fayed, so he was for the Fayed family, not Diana's bodyguard.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't entitled to a bodyguard of her own.
Oh, that's right.
Divorce. Now, so it's like that whole thing with Harry, and there's a big uproar in that we've paid £400,000 for his security at the minute, and people can't afford their fuel bill, so people are quite upset about that in our country at the moment.
Oh, wow.
I mean, not at him, because he did offer to pay for it. It's the bureaucracy that's caused the problem.
Look at the last 5 minutes of episode 3.
Philippe et Jean-François, ils sont dehors à faire ce que j'ai demandé?
Oui, ils sont à l'avant, ils font du vaisseau. Personne ne nous verra partir.
I don't know if you noticed with the shot in the bar, but Henri, who was the driver, they do a lingering shot on the bar to show you how many drinks he's had.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's within the legal. It's within an acceptable limit. It's not like you trolleyed or.
And plus, over time, I mean, probably drank that like maybe over an hour or two or something like that. But I wondered how they were going to illustrate that, because that was a point. Like, oh, he was drinking, and
I mean, also he was done for the night. Technically, he thought they were going to stay there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you can't place blame on him. You can't place blame on the bodyguard, because he had already said several things to them that they just, they didn't listen to him. So, because Trevor wrote a book about what happened, and the reason he wrote that book.
I remember his book.
Yeah, well, he wrote the book because of all the different
Mhm.
bullshit stories that were going around about what happened.
Yeah, but what happened? I think
Yeah.
it was on Oprah. I think.
He may have been. I've got a lot of respect for him. He had 150 metal plates put into his face. 150.
Yeah.
So I've only got 7. I mean,
A long time ago, but I think I remember he was on Oprah about his book.
it may have been. I mean, he's the only one who survived, so I don't think it could have been anybody else.
I love how they started episode 1 with where you didn't see it, but you just heard the crash.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And
I'm not sure we
you
needed
didn't
that.
know?
I'm not sure we needed that in episode 1, but we can get into that later.
Really?
I think it was
we
needed
kind
for
of
people who
did.
were unfamiliar with what's going on. It's very important to
Exactly.
set the context for that.
I mean, I
That's
understand
what I
why.
liked.
I understand why, but I think it could have been done differently.
And we've seen this, the last, I guess, few hours of that night were very well documented. We've seen it portrayed a lot of ways, but certainly this is, I think, a very good way to portray it. It's not necessarily a copy of everything that's happened, but it certainly is, I think, a very respectful way to portray it.
I think also.
And guys, we are on episode 4.
Are you on 4? If you got to the end?
Season
You're on 4.
season 6 of The Crown, starting just now.
It's about more, right?
Yeah, Aftermath.
Yeah, Aftermath. That shot at the end of episode 3, there's an inaccuracy there. The mopeds that would have been following them would have been right up behind them. So in that shot when they go around the curve, they would have been right there. Yeah, episode 4 is very well handled. I do have a couple of issues with it, but
I hope you don't tell us what happens, Lance, because I want to be surprised.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. But I lived through this. I was there. I'll tell you about my experience with it afterwards. But I was at the funeral and everything. So, because I'm a royalist, believe it or not, which most people are usually quite surprised. Most people think of me as a hippie, so they don't think of me as a royal family advocate.
Right. I understand. Thank you.
I love that shot of Balmoral, and the lights all start coming on. I just came in from a night out when the first news broke about it on the telly.
I remember this. It was all over the press here.
Well, we got the news about the car crash first, and but it said first that Diana was injured. So there was about a half an hour lull between that first statement and the next one. So that was it. We were just glued to the telly until 5 o'clock in the morning.
لا عايز اشوف المكان اللي حصلت فيه الكارثه.
Lance, is that your television in the background? Because we can hear the play of the show. Is that
No.
yours? Or is...
I've just reduced the volume to 3, so I hope that will suffice.
Thank you.
I've got quite a weird setup here, so I haven't got my headphones on. I'm sorry about that. My TV does not have a headphone support. Can you believe that? And it's a really modern one, but it hasn't got a headphone socket on it.
I love this shot. Oh my gosh, the shot of just him from the back having to walk, knowing that he has to walk into that morgue and identify his son.
Yeah, that's with all the blue lights and
yeah,
so tragic. And
he goes to the scene of the accident first.
It's details like this that give you that emotional link.
And he did do that. He went to the accident before he went to the morgue.
Oh my gosh, it's like as much as what you thought about Senior El Fayed, good or bad, you cannot help but have your heart break for this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I was close to tears when I saw this first time. Yeah, that scream is been there. Not a fun place to be. Yeah, Dominic West should get a BAFTA for his performance as Charles, by the way, in this episode. Just going to say that now.
And hello to Thomas Bertoldi. I'm trying to put his message up, but StreamYard is playing tricks with me. Thank you for stopping by, Thomas. Good to see you. Hope you are well.
I'm on to the credits now. Are you guys at the credits?
Yes. It should say the Crown right now.
For some reason, you guys look much taller than me with this screen split here. I don't know what's going on. I feel short. I'm stuck on the end here and like 1 foot below Reina. I really do like the music for this show.
Oh, music's great.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Who did the score?
Martin Phillips. But I can't remember if he did it for the whole show, but certainly this season.
Beautiful.
It's always very subtle, but it's very clever. It's very emotive. That's what you want from a score, really. This broadcast that you're hearing, I remember hearing this exact same guy talking, and he was the one who was on all through the night, giving us the updates. Oh man, just yeah. That's a Braveheart location right there. One thing they do really well with this is Charles is the one person who grasps just how big this is going to be for the nation. Everyone else in the royal family just doesn't get it, and he's the one who knows it's going to be the biggest thing ever to rock the country, and it was, absolutely was. Oh man, now he's got to talk to the kids. I can't imagine a worse thing for a father to have to do.
And there are a lot of scenes in these episodes where we're not hearing dialogue, and it is still quite profound because we know what's happening. It's just done so well.
Yeah, they do the scenes with the boys with music. I'm pretty sure that these scenes would have been scripted. I had a similar thing in a movie, in a scene I directed with this young lad, and in the end we realized it was much more powerful if we just had music on the scene and no dialogue at all. And sometimes that decision will get made in post-production, you know, but I'm sure there would have been scripted scenes that they had to do. I remember the casting for those boys when it was put out, that they were looking for lookalikes, and lots of people applied.
They must be seen and filmed this by people. I think so, and I suggested as such myself. Which he asked if we would prefer the mother of the future King of England to be brought back in a Harrods bag.
Yeah, this is one of the best lines of the episode here, with about the entitlement to come back on the royal plane with the body. Don't know if you picked up on that. And the secretary for the Queen says, the prince said, would you rather she come back in a Harrods bag? I mean, you know.
Yeah, it does speak volumes.
I think that the Queen gets quite a raw deal in this season, but I'll mention it later. Yeah.
على طول. كانوا مخطوبين خلاص اتجوزوا. خطوبة قديمة على التليفون. كل حاجتها لازم ترجع لعيلتها. لازم اكتب عشان اعزي عيلتها واعزي عيلتها. المصيبة دي اكيد هتطلعوا من بعض. محدش هيحس بوجعها قد ايه.
Yeah, that church service did happen and was notable for no mention of the accident at all. That's all true. All of the footage of Charles going to Paris was all broadcast live in the UK. We stayed up and we watched it. He was already there by the morning. I think he arrived about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and we were still glued to our TV set. We couldn't go to sleep, you know. We couldn't believe it. I'll never forget it. And I'd just come back to London that day. I wasn't living in London. I think the way they handle Charles's narrative in this is very well done, because I'm sure he did feel terrible about it, you know. He still cared about her, I think.
Absolutely. You know, she's the mother of his children. So of course he's going to have a reaction to what's happened. And I'm glad that they showed him being that way. He was so strong through all of this. This just must have broken him.
Yeah, it was, because our country was really happy for him when he got married. Everyone was proper, you know, down the line when they were finally able to marry. Everyone was really happy for him. And again, Dominic West's performance here, just incredible.
He was a perfectly cast in this.
And there's not, when you think about this, how sparing the dialogue is in these scenes in this show compared to other shows I could mention.
Well, I think that it does give a fresh twist to this. And as you said, and we were saying about how there are moments where they could have much more dialogue, but this certainly does add a certain solemnity to some of the scenes, especially some of the morning scenes here, where we all know the emotions that everyone is feeling, and it's showing us as effective as if they were to describe it in detail.
This scene where all the French come out onto the street, this all really happened. And that's what gave Charles the indication of what was to come. And, you know, because where the crash happened, there were thousands of people there. And there was already paintings and murals and everything of Diana on that crash site within 24 hours above the bridge. And you go there now and it's all painted now, you know. I think it's still there anyway. I think we were all still awake when the body arrived back in the UK. We were all still watching the TV, you know. It was no sleep. I'm not too sure about this scene on the plane, but I'd like to know what you guys think about it.
I love you so much. So painful too. It's over now. Peace in forever, Nicole.
No, it won't.
Well, imagine you've had that thought already.
The only thought I've had since the moment I heard is regret. No, it won't.
Oh man. Yeah, that's hard. I think Lorena's getting a hanky. Might be having some snivels.
I'm good.
Wow. Just
Saw my
checking.
girl Margaret there. I love her.
She's great character in real life. Sadly, no longer with us. I think she's passed away now.
That's a shame.
I think so. I think she was the one that passed away. It's either her or Leslie Manville, one or the other. Leslie Manville, who's got the cigarette holder. She called me at home and left me the loveliest message on my answer phone about a script once, which I wish I'd made a recording of it somehow. Very nice woman.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. It's extraordinary. Another world.
We would have followed your progress, but we put away all the televisions and wirelesses for the boys.
Yes, I love. We were instant. Legal siblings.
Can you still hear my TV, or is it all right?
Oh no, you're good now.
Cool.
Prime Minister feels that the right thing is a public funeral.
Yeah, I'm sure this conversation between Charles and his mother happened. Absolutely.
Some huge spectacle in London.
You really want to put the boys through that? You have to walk behind the coffin, behind all those cameras, and show their respect for their late mother, as people will want them to do.
Ouch.
Yeah,
He's not wrong.
he's not wrong.
But I'd rather not be lectured on how or when to grieve or show emotion.
Particularly by the person who caused you the most pain. All right. All right. I admit, I let her down. But I will not let her down in death. You can't have it both ways. We know that. We can't be a private family when we want to be in a public one when it suits us. Time and time again, trying to have it both ways, we can't. And it's time William learned that. Yes, he's a shy boy. He's also a piece of cake.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. We are shortly going to commence the janaza prayer of Imam Muhammad Abdul Mmmm, the son of our dear brother Muhammad al-Fahd. At this time, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant Muhammad al-Fahd and his entire family peace and solace.
I can't quite remember, but I think in the movie The Queen, we didn't see anything of Dodie's funeral rites or service. I could be wrong, but I don't think we did. So it's good that we see it here.
Yeah, I think it was good of them to show this.
Yeah, I think so too. Very important. Because he was buried immediately. That's as part of their cultural tradition, I think, at least within 48 hours of the accident. He was buried in the UK. It sort of, this imagery suggests he was buried in the Middle East, which is not true. He was buried in Surrey, which is very English. There may well have been a mosque and everything, but there was a condolence book, by the way, set up in Harrods, the shop he owned in London, and the queue to sign that book went like for a couple of miles, and there was one in the palace for Diana that was set up on near the palace, and the queue for that was like 1.5 days to sign that book. That's how long it would take. Yeah. I feel we get a bit of a subplot here in this episode that maybe the running time of it might have been better spent on different scenes. It's coming up now. Have you seen the shot of the flowers outside the palace yet? Cuts to it briefly on the news in the show.
I think I missed that.
So I was one of the first people to get there with a bunch of flowers, and I realized I'd put them in the wrong place. So I came back about 20 minutes later to get them, and by then the pile where my flowers were was quite big, but the main pile was 20 meters to the left, and I wanted them to be in the main pile. So I went in and got them, picked them up in front of these crowds of people who probably thought I was stealing them, and put them in the other pile. I'll never forget the looks everybody gave me, and I was like, these are mine. I just want to put them in the right place. But we were one of the first ones up there. We got there really quick. Just as people were starting to arrive, the whole thing was surreal. And you could smell the flowers from about 2 miles away at the end of the day because the scent was so overpowering because there were so many.
And that's what was so felt around like the world, and especially like here in the States, the coverage was non-stop.
It
about that.
was. I mean,
Especially since she'd been like in the United States to visit, because she would always like come over here and visit places.
Yeah, it was wall to wall over here, and don't forget we only had 4 channels then, and 3 of them were. This is all they were showing, pretty much.
Well, I think it's interesting that they're choosing maybe not necessarily to focus on a lot of what we've seen in many other types of dramatizations, because they had a lot to choose from because it's so well documented. However, I think looking at this particular series, episodes 1, 2, 4, I think we're getting a more intimate and more emotional and respectful depiction of events. And
Mhm.
I think that was a good choice, because a lot of what you're seeing as a viewer, you have to make kind of a decision as to what these feelings and emotions, not just from the family, but from everyone else was. They purposefully, I guess maybe we may not see a lot of the outcome and the response until the next episodes, but
Mhm.
it was an overwhelming response. It was a worldwide response. So I wonder how they're going to depict that, and because I don't think it's going to be in this episode. Maybe we won't see as
No.
here.
I
However,
agree.
the conversations, the only way I could describe it is from beyond the grave. These conversations from beyond the grave are very interesting. I had no idea we were going to see anything like that. To be able to kind of come back and comment on the impact, a devastating impact that the person's death has had, not just to this family, but to the entire world. And I think that is, in itself quite telling, for the impact that one person's life can have over, history and over people's feelings and emotions. It's one person had that effect over the entire world.
It's good that they didn't repeat scenes that we've already seen in The Queen, because we've already seen them in The Queen, and it's the same team, don't forget, that made this show. But I do think that cramming everything around the funeral into one episode, but I personally think that's a mistake. I think you'll see when we get to the end, but I think there should have been 2 episodes, personally. Hmm.
What? You heard me.
Yeah, because the fact that the Queen didn't come back to London for quite a few days, that caused a lot of anger in our country. I can't tell you the feeling that there was no one representing the royal family in London, in Buckingham Palace. There was no one there. One scene that's not depicted is that the 2 older princes, they did a public walkthrough up the Mile, and they were the first ones back, and they came out and they shook hands with the public. That was Prince Andrew and the other one, I forget his name. That's the first thing that happened before the Queen came back, and that was seen as like an olive branch to the public.
We did see that in the press here in the US.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah, because I mean, it was unannounced. All the reporters were like running around. My God, they've just got out their car, and it was very, very unprecedented that they would break protocol like that. It was. But
This is such a great recreation. I'm sorry, Lance. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just remembering the address that she made, that the Queen made.
Yeah, we're coming up to that scene now.
It does look very good. I think the here in this documentary is astounding.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on that speech now.
And I also think this has somewhat more of a family feel to it than other depictions of these events that I've seen. It does feel like they're very tight, they're very close, and they're absolutely devastated and heartbroken. And of course, we knew that was true, but I think we see it maybe a little bit more here in this program more than anywhere else.
With this footage and all of that. And if you've ever been to Buckingham Palace, just to like imagine all of those flowers and people.
I was there.
Right.
It was, never see anything like it again. I mean, in my lifetime, probably. I'll tell you more about it at the end.
Man, she has it down. It's like I'm recalling the entire speech. I'm seeing that.
But I bet you can't recall the brother's speech, Diana's brother's speech.
Some of it, not word for word, but I do remember.
That's the one you want to hear again. That's the one you want to hear.
Well, I'm not quite sure whether I want to see it in this particular show. However, if they do decide to include it, I think that would be very interesting. But I think overall, if they're trying to give a general impression of what's happened and the impact that it's had in the family here, I think that this show has accomplished that. And perhaps they're not necessarily focusing on the outside world in this particular episode for whatever reason they chose not to. And I think it's because it's so well documented already.
I would say, since this series is about the crown and about Queen Elizabeth's ascent and all of just like the challenges and tragedies that's happened during her reign. So I like that the focus is on her, because we should hear her speech, because for us, it's just like, what was she thinking and how long did it take and what was she possibly going through that we did not, that we did not see?
So we're on to the funeral now. Are you on the procession yet?
Yeah, we're on the procession. I remember seeing this too.
So somebody shouts out at the boys in this scene. I did that.
Well, we haven't seen a shout out. Were you saying it hasn't happened yet?
I don't know where you are, but it's in the procession
I
scene.
like that line where it says they're not crying for her, they're crying for you. Because so many people,
Yeah. It's right.
especially here
Yeah.
and I brought this up, like, especially in Orlando, like, Diana would bring her kids to, Walt Disney World. So everyone's just like, what about the kids losing their mother, so young?
Yeah, you hear somebody shout out something to the boys, and the grandfather says, "Don't react." And as they came along, people started applauding, and I didn't want to applaud. I thought it felt wrong.
We haven't seen that part. Did you see that part yet, Lorena? I didn't see that part yet.
Well,
No.
when the boys are walking behind
I
the
haven't seen
coffin,
it yet.
you're not at that bit yet.
Did we see that?
No, I saw the one where I think William had asked, why are they crying? They didn't even know her.
That's
And
the
he
funeral.
said they're not crying for her, they're crying for you.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, there were
that's all intercut with the
as a
speech.
child losing your mother like that. I felt terrible for him and his
Yeah.
brother.
And it was a universal feeling. It's just for people who had like lost their parents, or for people who were wondering what would it be like if I lost, my mother at such a young age. These boys had just been all over, the press. I mean, you and I talk about this all the time. It's just like we grew up with William and, and Harry, for all his, faults and everything. But you just felt connected because you'd seen them, so much.
Those poor boys.
I think Harry's a good guy. I think he gets a lot of bad stick. I think he's trying to be a good guy.
He's trying.
It's not an easy job holding that mantle. It's a hard ask for anybody.
And
I'll say his wife does not make it. Yeah, my cousin.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't mention her. I didn't mention her.
I also think that the shock of what's happened is depicted very well in this, because it's almost like they're so shocked they can't even react. They're almost to a point of being numbed.
Yeah, because no one expected. Oh, we got a teaser. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you're at the end now, so I'm slightly behind you, I think.
And I think that was so important for us to see that, because we knew that this was one of the most traumatic things, if not the most traumatic thing in their lives. But this, of course, and both of you already mentioned for Dodie's family as well, I've never seen this before like this. And I think that it's a great accomplishment. Lorena, what do you think of the first 4 episodes of season 6 of The Crown, the final season?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought that they handled Diana's death very well, very tastefully, had us think about some things perhaps that we had not thought before, and especially bringing it around to the Queen's speech, because people were wondering, where's the Queen? Where's the royal family? Doesn't the royal family have any heart for what's going on? So I like how eventually they brought it back to her and her decision when she's like, okay, I'm going to London. So I thought that it was done very well for people who are too young to even know that this happened. I think it does a good job, because remember, a lot of this is a fictional depiction, so it's not going to be dead on completely accurate, because there's just some things you have to change for television. But I think it's enough to give people an impression. If you weren't alive then, you could get an idea of just how the mood was, how big of a loss Diana's loss was, how it affected the kids, and how it literally changed the royal family yet again because of Diana. So I liked it.
Yeah.
I really did.
I think that's really interesting how you're kind of talking about, because the majority of people who are seeing this, there is going to be, I personally think the majority of people watching this don't know anything about Diana. Like, this
I
is
agree.
going to be the first time. They're not going to pick up a book. They're not going to read anything. They certainly don't want to, they're not going to watch the documentaries that tell all the details. They're not. They're going to watch The Crown, and they're going to see these depictions. And of course, as both, the three of us agree, this is a dramatization of the events. But if you had to dramatize it, put into a context for someone, the history of what's going on, I think that this does a very good job. And I think that it feels fresh, because we don't have all of that talking in between Lorena and Lance. We don't have everything doesn't have to be scripted. You can learn a lot from these scenes where there isn't a lot being said. And certainly, we all of our hearts broke for William and Harry, I think, in this.
Mhm.
And I think that is maybe what everyone in the family, in that royal family, is thinking, is just trying to get over, of trying to explain to them what's happened and how their lives are changed forever. It is just so shocking and unbelievable. Lance, what do you think of this production, this dramatization of episodes 1 to 4? Did you find it entertaining? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, just to say, I'm a huge fan of the show, and it's been a tradition that I watch it the day it comes out and I binge it. And I've done it with every season. I've always taken the day off, because it's normally more episodes than this. So I have to stay up till like 6 a.m. to binge it. I thought it was good. It has some issues though. I think the events covered in these 4 episodes, particularly episode 4, could have done with another episode. Some of it for me feels a bit rushed. I do think the dialogue for the most part is really good, and this is a really good example of good writing with less is more. There's all the dialogue in the scenes is always very character driven. It's not expositional. It's not telling you something you already know, like a Star Wars TV episode, So for the most part, it's really good. I mean, I was there. I lived it. I was at the front of on the barrier. I've given you a picture of what it was like. I don't know if you can share it, but I've given you one there. And I was at the front of the barrier, and when the kids went past, I was saying that people were applauding as the coffin came up, which for me felt a bit awkward. Some people were, some people weren't. And I remember when the kids went past, I shouted out, "We're with you, boys. We're with you. We're all with you." I just felt I had to say something. And I saw one of them flinch, and I swear it was like that moment in the show. You may have missed it because it's all intercut with the Queen talking, and he says that don't react to anything. But it was like you could see everybody wanted to say something. So
I'm going to have to rewatch that, because I don't remember seeing that part.
It's there, and I had to go back on it, because I was like, my God, that's just like what happened. And like when I said that thing, was that that can't be based on the bit where I actually said that, but you can just hear someone shout something. It's a bit I couldn't quite hear what it is, but it's there. And the other thing about is that when the funeral, when the ceremony happened, one thing that's never been covered in either the Queen or the Crown is that, so the brother did this speech, and if you haven't seen the speech, you must watch it, because the speech really was the speech that summed up how everyone was feeling. And I found it on YouTube, and I've got the link, so I'll drop it in the chat so people can see it.
Well, it seems pretty clear that you don't like what they've left out of this dramatization, as
It's
we
not
said,
that-
dramatization. But for what is in it, would you recommend it to other people watching it?
I would, but I think there's been a missed opportunity to include some things that haven't been included before, because the brother's speech got 7 standing ovations in Hyde Park, and I was in Hyde Park. There were thousands of us in there. That's where we all went to watch, because you couldn't get into the church. So that's where the thousands upon thousands. I mean, there was like 200,000-300,000 people there. And the brother got up and did his speech, and he got 7 standing ovations, not one that was reported on the news, 7 on each of the different key points that he delivered. And I feel like that story's kind of that mood, those salient points, that's never really been covered before. was kind of hoping they were going to say something about that, but they didn't. I
Well,
get why. I get
I
why.
I know why they would not say anything about the brother's speech, but for people who want to go ahead and look it up, they can. But
Yeah.
it is very interesting. I don't know if the next episode covers any more of what's happened. I imagine it might.
It doesn't. They jump straight onto there's a time jump. There's different actors playing the kids. And we jump onto kind of William's love story about him meeting Kate. So this is the only episode which covers the funeral and the aftermath of the funeral. And I know that they don't want to repeat stuff that was covered in The Queen. I get that, but I feel that there was more we could have seen. I think we should have seen a little bit more. There was some stuff that they missed out, which I really would have liked to have seen. For example, nothing was covered about the fact that the press that chased after the car that caused the accident, they were all arrested, And one of the reasons that they were arrested was not only for taking the photographs, but for not aiding the people that were trapped in the car. They were just standing there taking pictures. One of them took pictures of Diane, severely injured, and tried to sell them to the newspaper. And it was the royal family that put a stop to that in conjunction with various people in the media. That was a big story, and that's not in here, which I'm surprised it's not in there. I get why they're probably trying to be sensitive around certain issues, but I mean, if you're going to tell the story, then tell the story. I'm surprised that they left that out.
Well, I'm not surprised because it's a dramatization. So I'm not surprised. If this was a documentary or a biopic, I would expect those sorts of things to be in there. But for a dramatization, they're not going to have everything like that. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not surprised by it. What do you think, Lorena? Do you think for this dramatization, for what we got in it, which is a lot, do you think what was left out, do you think it makes a difference in it overall?
No, not really. You've only got 8 episodes, so you can't include everything. And I think the fact that they spent 4 episodes basically setting it up for what, if you didn't know, what was going to happen, Diana, all the way down to how it affected the royal family. I think they did a good enough job. Yeah, they could have gotten into, got arrested, the paparazzi, even from the driver. Was he intoxicated or not? What did that mean? It could have been, and we don't know how much of that wound up on the cutting room floor. But if you're saying, was it enough to get the point across? I would say yes. It probably would have been cool to hear a little bit of the speech from Diana's brother, but in the grand scheme of things, what is this series truly about? It's about Queen Elizabeth. So
I would have liked to.
I agree with you. If it was a documentary, yeah, they definitely needed to include that stuff in there. And also another thing, how many people are going to see this information, ask the same questions that I did, and start doing research on the internet to find out for themselves?
Sure. I would have liked to have seen the Queen's reaction to that speech depicted in this show, because to me that is drama, and that speech was extremely explicit.
Did they show it in real time? I mean,
it was broadcast to the nation live. That's why there were seven standing ovations to that speech in the park, and it captured the mood of the public, and they completely agreed with everything that he said. And it was very critical of the press and the newspapers, and the brother accused the press of hounding the princess to her death. I think those were his exact words.
Yeah, we saw clips of that. I think I want to say, was it Inside
But
Edition?
he was also,
I forget which one of them.
He was also critical of what's called the royal family, and not called the royal family. They're called the firm in the UK. They're called the firm.
And I also want to congratulate the crew who's worked on The Crown this season. I think that they did a fantastic job.
I agree.
The production value is stellar. The cinematography has been stellar. I think that the performances of the cast and crew certainly just keep getting better and better. And it is heartbreaking seeing, you know, Diana and Dodie in their prime falling in
Yeah.
this way. You
Oh
really
my
do
gosh.
see a sense of that, because it looked like for her and maybe even for him, you know, that their future was so bright of what was going to happen for both of them. So no one could have ever imagined this. And I think that they certainly made that point of just the shock of it all. So, you know, I think it was a good series. So far, episodes 1 to 4, I give this a 10 for, I think all the episodes were great. I saw stuff I wasn't expecting to see.
Mhm.
And it felt like you were there. It also felt like you were there along with
Agreed.
Diana and her experience, which we only saw photographs and maybe some pictures or stuff like that of what was going on. This really puts you into the experience. But Lorena, would you recommend this to season 6, episode 1 through 4? Would you recommend it? Do you think it's going to have high ratings? What do you think is going to happen, at least so far on Netflix?
I think it's definitely going to have high ratings, especially from the demographic within, you know, our age bracket, because this is something that we've grown up with, you know, this information coming out in real time with regards to, you know, Diana's death. You know, it's like reliving moments. And I think I brought it up a couple of times watching this. Like, yeah, I remember that. I remember, you know, Diana's outfits. I remember this. I remember the pictures of the kids. So I think it's going to get you good. It's not going to do Bridgerton numbers. Let's get that straight. It's not going to do Bridgerton numbers. But it is going to do some pretty good respectable numbers. And I really think, especially with the holidays coming up, you know, where people spend more time to take off and look and let me catch up on what it is and I missed on streaming. I think this is going to be up there.
What
Just
do
the
you think?
attention to detail and everything. I love it.
Thank you, Lorena. And Lance, what do you think? Are people going to watch episodes 1 through 4 of The Crown this final season? What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be very popular. I don't know what Bridgerton's numbers are, so I can't compare. Is that the highest Netflix show ever or something?
Yes.
Because when The Crown first came out, it was like the highest Netflix show ever. I remember that. But I'm sure Bridgerton, having lots more good-looking people in it, has probably surpassed. Yeah, I think it. I've already read the British critics, and they're very divided on it.
I think that's interesting. Lance, there was another question I would ask you.
I like it. I mean, I recommend it to people. I give it 8 out of 10.
Oh, do you think this will be, Lance, do you think this will be the highest rated Netflix historical series, The Crown?
I think Masters of the Air, which is dropping on Apple, will be the highest within the next sort of 12-month period. I think it will do way bigger numbers than The Crown, because people have been waiting for that show for about 3 years. It's been in development for about 6 years. You know, the buzz around it is huge, especially in the British film industry, because so many people worked on it. It was one of the first productions to shoot after lockdown. It got shut down as well in lockdown, and I don't know that it will do those numbers. It's really, our country is really weird where the royal family is concerned. You have people that kind of don't really care. You have people that are anti-royalist and think that they're overpaid snobs and they should all just, you know, not have that money and we shouldn't pay for it. And then there are people like me who are royalists who think, my view on it is that they have a terrible job that I would never want, no matter how much wealth it comes with, but they're a necessity for our country. It's good that we have them because they perform a role which is integral to tourism apart from anything. You know, people want to go and see Buckingham Palace because the Queen used to live there or because the King is there. You know, it's
you know, Lance, you know what I want to see? I want to see your documentary of the events, because you're passionate about it and you were there, you have photographs and things. Make the documentary so we can watch that and then we can talk more about it, because, you know, I would like to see it. I'm not telling you have to, but I'd love to see you.
One interesting thing about the funeral that's not covered in this, it's in the Queen a little bit, is no one wanted to go home afterwards. Everybody didn't know what to do. And I'll tell you one story real quick. There was a group of 5 American guys.
You have 3 minutes.
And they were standing outside the palace, and they sang songs outside the palace all night. All night. We came back at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were still there singing songs a cappella by the flowers outside the palace. This is what I mean by people didn't want to go home, and
Well,
they weren't even English, you know.
This is my request from you, Lance, because you're filled with a lot of information that for posterity is historical. And you have you're in a very unique position as a filmmaker to go ahead and make something for us so we can watch it. I'd watch it because, Lorraine and I would watch it because we love stuff like that. So please do make it.
I'm doing a stream about this tomorrow night. I'm going to go over it all again then. And you're on it, I think.
About your personal experiences, because I want to see something like that.
I don't think I have enough to say about it really, other than, I was there. It was really hard, and we all grieved as a nation together. It was the one time we all came together, really came together. Everybody put differences aside, and never seen the country united like that in my lifetime ever.
Well, I want to thank both of you, Lorena and Lance, for joining me here tonight on Positive Fandom, for watching The Crown. I love this series. I love everything about it. I think it's a very special time for us to get something like this. And when we get something like this, it's a very, we're very lucky, right? Hollywood has not been in its top form for different reasons. And we got The Crown. So yes, it feels good to get stuff like this. Lorena, where can people find you?
Well, folks, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. And of course, you can find me on Twitter as well. And thank you so much for having me. You know, I love this series. I'm not it's interesting from the American perspective. I'm not a quote unquote royalist, because we fought a revolution to get away from that. However, in the United States, there is a divide on the East Coast. If you're north of the Mason-Dixon line, you're like, we don't care about the royals. We fought a war to get away from them, blah, 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 whatever. In the South, it's like, we have them to thank for iced tea. So, here, the royal family, it's like, yeah, get a royal family their props. That's cool. It's all right. It's very interesting how that works over here in the States.
Well, thank you, Lorena. And guys, I cannot put up the link I'm trying to put it up there. Like, our names keep disappearing. I'm keep pressing the button to share Lorena's YouTube channel. Guys, please do like and subscribe to Lorena's YouTube channel. And Lorena, thank you so much for being here, of course. And Lance, where can people find you?
Well, I'm on the Outcast Creative YouTube channel, which predominantly focuses on interviewing people in the industry and reviewing films and TV shows, mainly serious dramas. I'll drop the link in the chat in case for any reason you can't put it up. I'm going to be on tomorrow night around this kind of time. When you started the stream, I'll be on about the same time, talking about the same thing, but I'm going to be talking about the show as a whole, not just these 4 episodes, but the show as a whole, as well as these 4 episodes, and again, kind of some of the things that are slightly different to the truth and reality. And then I'm back on streaming next week, normally Monday and Tuesday nights. I'm doing something new called the Nielsen ratings, the first episode of which is coming up in the 2 weeks. See what I did with the title there, the Nielsen ratings. Yeah, and I'm doing that with a guy called Stepenzo. We're going to do it as a weekly slot every week on Tuesday evening, be about 5 or 6 o'clock East Coast time, where we're going to review a couple of different things each week. And we're doing Napoleon on the first episode, and the TV drama of the sinking of the Estonia, which, if you haven't watched it, you should. It's a Finnish-Swedish co-production, true story, really gut-wrenching stuff. But I think you guys would like it. It's fantastic, but have the tissues ready. It's not an easy watch.
Thank you, Lance. And I also want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson, moderator, collaborator, and good friend. Tom, I keep pressing the button and it's not sharing everything. So I apologize, Tom, but Tom, we are all good people. Tom, thank you so much for everything.
Thanks, Tom.
I so appreciate it. And everybody who will be watching this on the replay, thank you for joining us on Positive Fandom for The Crown. Lorraine and I will return, and Lance, of course, you're welcome, for episodes 6 through 10. Maybe we won't do all of them at once, but actually 5 through 10. I'm saying that correct.
Are there 8 or are there 10 episodes?
I'm not sure, but we're going to come back for the next half of the episodes right here on Positive Fandom. So please do check it out. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And guys, remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, always remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody. Bye. I'm pressing the button. It's not doing the music. All right, I might just have to.
There we go.
Do you see it? Is it? Do you hear?
Yeah, it's playing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. You can hit the button.
Okay. I'm trying to end the stream, but it's not.
Oh, StreamYard.
Is it?
Sorry, I was
Not
late,
yet.
guys.
Hold on, Lance. I
go live.
on the air. Hold on. Oh, here we go.
Live.